In the heart of a bustling city lived a man named Tariq. He was a master calligrapher, and his hands, though stained with ink, could weave verses of the Qur'an into breathtaking works of art. His shop was a small, quiet corner in a crowded marketplace, a sanctuary of peace amidst the city's ceaseless hum. Yet, for all the beauty he created, Tariq's heart was heavy. Business had been slow, and the mounting bills cast a long shadow over his days. At morning, he would open his shop with a sigh, his gaze lingering on the unsold masterpieces that lined his walls. One sweltering afternoon, an old man with a kind, weathered face and a simple white tunic stepped into his shop. He wasn't a wealthy merchant or a collector. He looked like a traveler who'd seen many roads. He didn't ask about prices or custom orders. Instead, he just stood there, his eyes gently scanning the intricate calligraphy. "Beautiful," the old man whispered, his voice as soft as the rustle of a page. "Each letter seems to breathe with a life of its own. Your hands are truly blessed." Tariq managed a weak smile. "Thank you, sir. But blessings don't pay the rent, do they?" The words slipped out, laced with a bitterness he hadn't intended to show. The old man turned to him, his gaze clear and direct. "Perhaps they do, but in ways we don't always expect." He gestured towards a magnificent piece, displaying a verse about gratitude. "You write of shukr, of thankfulness, but do you live it?" Tariq felt a prick of defensiveness. "I am thankful. I pray my 5 prayers. I thank God for my health, for the roof over my head. But how can I be truly thankful when I am on the verge of losing my livelihood? The very craft my father taught me." The old man nodded slowly, his expression full of empathy. "I understand your worry," he said. "Let me tell you a story. A long time ago, in a village far from here, there lived a farmer. He had a small plot of land, a cow, and a family he loved dearly. One day, a fierce storm destroyed his entire crop, leaving his field a muddy ruin. The villagers pitied him. 'What a terrible misfortune,' they cried. The farmer simply replied, 'Is it a misfortune or is it a blessing? Only God knows.' A few weeks later, a war broke out. The king's soldiers came to every village, conscripting all able-bodied men to fight. But because the farmer's land was ruined and he had no harvest to contribute, the soldiers passed him by, leaving him to care for his family. The villagers who had lost their sons and husbands now looked at the farmer with envy. 'What a great blessing,' they said. The farmer again replied, 'Is it a blessing, or is it a misfortune? Only God knows.' Tariq listened, captivated. The old man continued, his voice steady. The story goes on, with fortune and misfortune weaving in and out of the farmer's life. What he learned, and what we must all learn, is that our vision is limited. We see only a tiny fragment of the grand tapestry God is weaving. What appears to be a hardship today might be the very thing that protects us from a greater calamity tomorrow, and what seems like a great fortune might lead us down a path of heedlessness." The old man walked over to Tariq's workbench, where a half-finished piece lay. He gently touched the reed pen. "This is your field," he said. "You plant the seeds with your skill and your heart. But the harvest, the outcome, that is not in your hands. That belongs to God. Your duty is not to worry about the sale. Your duty is to pour your soul into the stroke of every letter, to perform your craft with excellence and with a heart full of trust. This is tawakkul, reliance on God. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about tying your camel, doing your absolute best, and then entrusting the outcome to the one who knows best." He then pointed again to the verse on gratitude and shukr. True gratitude is not just being thankful when things are good. It's about recognizing the blessing in the very ability to do your work. The blessing of your hands, your eyes, your knowledge, the blessing of this very moment, this breath you are taking. When you focus on what you have, your heart opens. When you focus on what you lack, it constricts. The old man's words settled deep in Tariq's soul. It was as if a dusty window in his heart had been wiped clean, letting in a light he hadn't seen in years. He had been so consumed by the fear of losing his shop that he had forgotten the joy of creating. He was so focused on the empty pockets that he had failed to see the richness of his gift. It was a lesson hidden in plain sight, written on his own walls but unread by his own heart. "Who are you?" Tariq asked, his voice filled with a newfound reverence. The old man smiled warmly. "Just a traveler, reminded of a lesson he too must relearn every day." He didn't buy anything. He simply placed a hand over his heart, gave a slight bow, and walked out, disappearing back into the market's vibrant chaos. Tariq never saw the old man again, but it didn't matter. The encounter had changed him. That evening, he didn't close his shop with a sigh. Instead, he picked up his favorite reed pen. He didn't think about rent or bills. He thought about the curve of the letter, Alif, standing tall and straight. In its submission to its creator, he thought about the grace of the letter Nun, shaped like a vessel, ready to receive whatever is given. He began to work, not with the desperation of a seller, but with the devotion of a true artist. A servant thankful for his craft. A deep sense of peace washed over him, a tranquility that had been absent for so long. He worked late into the night, the scratch of his pen on paper a quiet prayer of gratitude and trust. The next morning, as Tariq was arranging his new work in the window, a wealthy merchant who had passed his shop 100 times without a glance stopped. He was drawn in not just by the art, but by the palpable serenity that now filled the small space. He saw the light in Tariq's eyes and the passion in his work. That day, he bought 3 of Tariq's most expensive pieces. More customers began to come. Some bought his work, others just came to sit and watch him, finding a moment of peace in his presence. Tariq's business flourished, more than it ever had before. But to Tariq, the sales were no longer the main goal. They were simply a byproduct of his newfound state. He had learned the lesson hidden in plain sight, that true wealth is not in what we accumulate, but in our trust in the planner and our gratitude for the present moment. His hands were still stained with ink, but now his heart was stained with something far more beautiful, the colors of Tawakkul and Shukr. And so, in the heart of that bustling city, the calligrapher's shop became more than just a place of business. It became a reminder for all who entered that the most profound lessons are often right before our eyes, waiting for us to simply adjust our focus and see.